Hello everyone and welcome to a new series I'd like to call the Coding Grind. Now in this series I'd like to just go through numerous coding exercises every day and just kind of talk my way through them and explain what's going on in my head while I'm working through these issues. I hope that I can help people who are new to coding kind of in terms of what they should be thinking about, things of that nature. I don't want to mislead anybody. Don't think that the solutions I come up with will be the most optimal way to solve a problem. I don't think they will be either. But I will try my best to make them the most optimal solution that I can come up with in a reasonable time frame, of course. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and start with the very first challenge that I've got pulled up here. It's a pretty simple one. It just has to do with string manipulation. So the problem that we have here is we basically just need to write a function that removes every lone 9 that is in between 7s. And I have a few examples down here of what it should do. So if we give it the parameters 797123112, it should put out 77123112. Likewise, if you have 79797, it should be just 777 and remove those 9s. So first thing that comes to mind is we just want to strip out the 9, right? And how am I going to go about doing that? So the easiest thing, well, the first thing that comes to mind is go through, step through, search for instances of 797. If we find those, just remove the 9 from within them. Obviously, I'd have to do a loop for that. It might not be the best way to do it. But off the top of my head, I can think of another thing. Since we are using strings rather than just numbers. So in this case, I could say, I could use the nifty replace method. And I could say if you find 797, you want to replace it with 77. So what this is going to do, it's going to find instances of this and replace them with this anywhere within the string here. So in our case, every time you see 797, just replace it with 77. Now the reason I'm not going to replace it with nothing is because we are searching for 797 and not just the 9. So we obviously have to keep them in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and run this and see what we get. It looks like we got what we expected. So it did strip out the 9. So that's good. So let's try our other example here. Okay. So in this case, it did not remove the 9. So let's think about that. Okay, so the string replace, it's finding these first 3 characters here, and it's replacing them with 77. But it's not looking at the end of the string. So there are a few ways to get around that. One I can think of very quickly is we just assign string to itself after we do the replacement, and then we return the replacement of the string again. So there we go. Okay, so now basically what I'm doing, I'm going to replace it the first time. So in this case, it'll find the first occurrence of 797. It will replace it with 77, but it wouldn't do anything with the 97 that was remaining, despite it being 7797 after it finds the first replacement and replaces it with 77. But now, since I'm assigning it back to itself and then returning another replacement on itself, so now after the first replacement, string here should be 7797 like we got up here. But now if I do string replace again, it's going to do the same thing that we were doing in our first time through, except this time we've already gotten rid of the case of if there's 797s chained together like this. So let's go ahead and see what this puts out. And there we go. There you have it. 777. That's exactly what we're looking for. So Now, we could make this a little bit more efficient. As you can see, there's no reason to always do both of these string replaces as presented in the first example. So the reason why the second one needs 2 is because there's an odd number of characters in the string. So I think if we just put an if statement here and say if string length modulo 2, yep, just not equal 1, then just do a return like this. Otherwise, do what we've been doing where you do both string replaces, because that means it's odd. So here we go. So now we should be getting the same result. So let's go ahead and run it one more time. Okay, so that's good. So now I'm going to put a break statement here just to make sure that we're hitting the right thing. And I'm going to go ahead and test the first example. And we did. Okay, so we hit the breakpoint. That's good. So now it's always going to be doing this if it's an even number of characters in the string, which eliminates the extra processing that happens when we do the second string replace. So a minor improvement, but just keeping that in mind. We don't want to do any extra processing that we don't need to do. But with that, I think we've gone ahead and solved this problem. If you'd like to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next episode.